general. To the west of Syria in Homs province, a gas pipeline explosion rocked the city of Rastan. State media blamed the attack on terrorist groups. In Homs, a group of gunmen wounded soldiers inside a vehicle which they targeted with rockets. The number of casualties is not clear. Also, in the southern province of Dara, an armed group targeted army forces and a public bus. No casualties have been reported from that attack. Ali Rizk is our correspondent, joining us now live from Damascus with the latest. Ali, it looks like it's been a violent few days now for Syria, hasn't it?
Yes, actually, it seems that the armed men, although the opponents of Bashar Assad are escalating their tactics and escalating their attacks as well. What is most noteworthy in these latest attacks is that very advanced, or maybe not advanced, but heavy weaponry is being used by the opponents of Bashar Assad, by the armed gangs, as the Syrian regime calls them. And also the tactics seem to be improving as well. Ambushes targeting, for example, military vehicles, using more advanced weaponry. So it seems that though the opponents of Bashar Assad are getting more and more developed as every day goes by, whether it be in their military skill or in their military attacks, in their military weaponry or equipment. And so I think this points out, or maybe opens the question about who is behind this. Are there any intelligence organizations, for example, who are assisting these armed gangs or these armed personnel? For example, in Lebanon, we heard reports that there were French intelligence officers in the northern city of Tripoli providing armed training and training in guerrilla warfare for the opponents, for the dissidents in Syria, for those who have left and who are practicing attacks or launching attacks against the Syrian official institutions and against the Syrian army. So as I said, many people now are raising the questions about the outside assistance being given to the anti-Assad forces, to the anti-Assad gangs or to the anti-Assad groups, whether it be, for example, in Lebanon with the presence of, as I said, there is talk of French intelligence presence. And even in Turkey now, we heard, of course, that the Syrians prevented these people, the two armed gunmen, from penetrating into Syrian territories. So the guerrilla warfare aspect appears to be escalating, and that happens actually after all-out conventional military warfare was put aside. After Russia and China took these very firm stances in support of Bashar Assad, I think that the opponents of Bashar Assad, whether it be in France, America, or even Israel, gave up on the idea of full-scale military warfare and resorted maybe now to the covert war and guerrilla warfare. That's why we're seeing this escalation. That is the choice which they've chosen now. That is the path which Bashar Assad's opponents have chosen to walk along, the guerrilla warfare tactics. And I think it's for this reason that Bashar Assad also, or the Syrian army, is now trying to develop its means in confronting guerrilla warfare, conducting maneuvers and drills, for example, on how to wage such type of warfare, because the Syrian army, we have to remember, isn't used to street fighting and to this type of warfare. So it's holding these drills to improve, and there have been some signs of improvement on the part of the Syrian army. Now, another thing which must be pointed out to, I believe, is the fact that we can see here that it appears that the countries like Turkey and Israel, who sometimes are portrayed as opponents, their policies here appear to intersect, because we recently heard Ehud Barak, the Israeli defense minister, saying that the fall of Bashar Assad will be a blessing to the Middle East and will deal a severe blow to the Iran-Hezbollah axis. Now, if we look at Turkey's policies towards Syria and Israeli rhetoric towards Syria, it appears that there is a convergence in policies which is quite noteworthy, because whenever one speaks about Turkey and Israel now, they say, for example, there is enmity, and where they refer to the Mari Marmara. But now it appears, as I said, that there is some kind of common policy being pursued. And another thing which many people are talking about here is the fact that there is increased skill and better military tactics on the side of the opponents of Bashar Assad, the armed gangs. This means that the Mossad might very well be involved. For example, some days ago we heard that there were Air Force pilots in the Syrian Air Force pilots who were killed, 7 or 8 of them. And many people here pointed the finger at Mossad, because such an attack with a high caliber attack cannot be successful without the support of a very, very sophisticated intelligence organization. And many people say that such attacks bear the fingerprints of the Israeli Mossad. So I think that is the situation which we have right now, an escalation in guerrilla warfare with the presence and participation of some very, very important, significant intelligence organizations. Just one more thing I'd like to mention is that right before we came into this interview, actually just about 1 hour ago, we heard the Bahraini king saying that Syria is involved in helping the protesters in Bahrain. And so once again, the sectarian card is coming into play, trying to portray Bashar Assad as being part of the Iran-Hezbollah axis. Of course, Bashar Assad is a Alawite, which some people say is just like a Shia, and so helping the protesters in Bahrain, or by saying that he's helping protesters, gives him more of a Shia color, and that might help in recruiting more Sunnis who might believe that they're coming to fight an Alawite regime which is oppressing a Sunni population. So the sectarian card, as we can see, is getting played more and more every day. So we have an escalation in guerrilla warfare, we have the sectarian card being played, and we also have another attempt to draw the minorities, such as the Christians and Jews, towards far away from Bashar al-Assad.
Ali Rizk, our correspondent, joining us there live from Damascus with the latest. Ali, thank you very much.